Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life. Ann Harder here with you. And it's really going to be a treat for you because we are using the wonderful world of technology to talk to Lindsey Kurowski, who is the star storyteller of In the Works, a Magnolia Network show that is, it's beginning to be aired on Monday nights on the regular network. I have binge watched this show now twice, both seasons. So when I was contacted about, would you like to talk to Lindsey? I was, of course I would. Lindsey, it is a delight to speak to you. You're in Big Bear, California.
I am. Thank you so much for the intro. Yes, I am here in Big Bear, California. We actually got some snow just for the fire. It's a little chilly.
Well, it is a beautiful setting where you are, and no doubt because you have wonderful dreams, wonderful vision on what you want to turn these properties who need a little love, would you say? But let's back up a little bit, Lindsey. Now you have a design business, and you took your life savings in order to buy this Big Bear property.
Yes, so
Oak Knoll Lodge.
Correct. Yep. So I'm currently at the Oak Knoll Lodge. You can hear a little fireplace in the background. I own a design build company called Naughty Pine. So I've owned that for close to 10 years now. And I do design and build for retail and activation. So I build out retail stores and trade show booths and all kinds of stuff and travel all over the US. That company did really well in the first couple of years. Crazy well. I wasn't anticipating it. So I saved and thought, okay, well, I want to do something else that maybe keeps me in one place, because at the time I was traveling a lot in my 20s, which was super fun. And then I turned 30 and my back started to hurt. And I thought, hey, it might be nice to maybe do this on a smaller scale, which was, what if I owned my own venue, or I bought an old hotel and renovated it and then put a venue on it so I could produce events just in one place. So that was the idea behind Oak Knoll Lodge, which was my first hotel purchase almost 4 years ago.
So you're based in California. I'm sure you've done a lot of traveling. What part of California is Big Bear? Further up north on the coast?
So, so I live in Los Angeles. Big Bear is 2 hours from LA.
Okay.
So it's in a little mountain town right above San Bernardino. It's about 8,000 foot elevation. So it gets a good amount of snow. It's crazy. I have mornings where I've surfed in LA and I've snowboarded, by lunch in Big Bear.
Well, that's what's beautiful about California. What a wonderful state to be in. Now, so you buy this property. How long ago was that? Exactly when did this rehab take place?
I bought the property at the end of 2019.
Okay.
So the renovation of the show was between 2019 and 2020. And then, I'm going into my fourth year, 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm. And what's wonderful about the show, what I just adore, is the dynamics with you and your siblings. And the fact that I have to say, your parents have done a fabulous job, because we hear about so much dysfunction in families, and you have kind of brought them together in one spot to help them in a lot of ways too.
Definitely a little dysfunction, though. I will say that for sure. But yeah, my folks are great, and it was a fun time. My mom actually lives in Texas, so I'm sure she'll be thrilled for this. I had an amazing time. It is challenging. It's just hard. Renovating is hard. Renovating a commercial property is hard. Renovating on a shoestring budget is hard. Making a TV show is hard. All of it combined at moments was a lot. But the overall sense was really beautiful and amazing. They're my best friends. They're real funny people. And I think one thing you'll take away from this show, we're not super serious, and we're kind of figuring it out with, like you would. If there's so many people I meet that are like, oh, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm literally like, watch my show. I will show you the pros and cons. I have some knowledge now, not all the knowledge, but so I do think working with my siblings was overall really fun. My older brother, Matt, is a logger who doesn't often talk to people in real life. So there were some run-ins there with him being around this many people, and he doesn't like to take direction from anybody. So that could be fun some days.
But he did cut down a tree, and that helped. His knowledge.
He did. He definitely did. He was more help than grief, I believe.
Well, and your darling sister, Kelsey, of course, she is a CPA, so she's the numbers girl, and in fact works with you in your business, right? In your design business.
Yes, we did for years. Actually, recently we have stopped working together officially. She moved back to Massachusetts actually, so she's working full time there, and I'm here, and we like being siblings and friends. So that's been better than being siblings, friends, and colleagues. So, but yeah, she is working for a nice high-end accounting firm. But yeah, no, she always looks over my stuff.
Well, and that's good to have those eyes checking on things and she was so cute because she was very transparent about, I don't bring any skills to this job at all, but she learned how to tile, and she finally got her tool belt. I mean, and she was able to add some things to her resume, I guess.
She definitely was. She won MVP. Season 1, she definitely won MVP. She was the most advanced too. Yeah, she learned quite a bit. She's probably better than me at this point, to be honest.
Okay, then there's baby brother.
I'm too busy bossing everybody around. They get to brush up on the technique while I'm bossing them
Well,
around.
you got to have boss lady. You got to have somebody kind of calling the shots. But then your littlest brother, there's a pretty big age span between you.
Yep, Adam. I'm 13 years older than Adam.
And he really matured and blossomed throughout the skills that he was learning as well.
Yeah, he did great. He's worked at Naughty Pine for a couple of years, but he's, my entry level employee. He does a lot of errands. So this was his first time doing.
So you found this wonderful property, and it's big. To me, it's daunting to think you have all these cabins, and not only that, you were still honoring reservations from folks who were coming and staying, and you were vacuuming and changing beds and you were the hardest working young lady I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's all real.
I know it was.
It didn't even cross my mind to shut down because I don't have the luxury to shut down because I don't have enough money to renovate and be shut down. So it was a challenge. Do I recommend other people do it the way I did? Probably not. You get some unhappy customers for sure, but for the most part, I'm really honest. I can only be one way. I would genuinely tell any guest that was staying here how grateful I was they were staying. I would tell them the areas where I was doing work, tried not to be loud, and everybody for the most part understood. And I didn't mention anything about TV. So I think there's some people now that see the TV part and are like, now we get it. But
that's what that was.
My phone rings and I bring a spoon. My phone rings, I'm flipping a cabin. I do definitely keep busy.
So how did the television part of this come about? I love the fact that Magnolia Network, they like to refer to their stars of their shows as storytellers. And you do a great job with that, with a lot of fun thrown into the mix. But how was that contact made when you'd bought this property, you knew you were going to do this work? When did television come into it?
Yeah, so it actually wasn't related. So me buying the property was not related to TV. I was doing it anyways. My construction company, Naughty Pine, had taken off and I wanted to diversify. But a friend of mine is a TV developer and he had been bugging me for years to make a reel about me because at the time I was 25 or 26 working in construction. My construction company was big. I had a 10,000 square foot airport hangar and I had scaled very, very, very quickly. And I was working for Nike and Adidas and the biggest companies in the world. It was pretty cool stuff. He wanted to make a show about that. And I said, no, I'm too busy. And these brands won't sign off on it. It's too hard. And then when I decided to buy the Oak Knoll Lodge, he's a storyteller as well and was like, listen, I don't care what you say. We didn't even have a show. He said, I'm going to follow you to the bank while you take out all your money. I'm going to follow you around your first couple of days there. He filmed me on an iPhone and said, I'm going to make a reel about you because I think this is an amazing show. Will you please let me just make one reel? Because what you're doing is amazing and you should inspire other people. And I said, no. He wore me down. I eventually said, okay, fine, sure. But just one One reel. So yeah, he made one reel, and that reel actually is the opening to the season one, the Oak No Lodge in the works. Most of the cuts from that reel are iPhone footage from my friend Mark Johnson, who believed in me before anyone knew my name, and he followed me. And that's all iPhone footage from the early days, before any cameras or lights or makeup or anything. So yeah, it's
Well,
pretty cool.
well, and as you say, you've got a job to do and family and employees to kind of manage, and then you've got cameras in your face as well. What were some of the challenges involved with all that?
All the things you just said, you already listed them. The family part was hard at times. The small budget was hard. The keeping your resort open while you're under major renovation, plus filming a TV show. All of these things were incredibly difficult. COVID did happen at a certain point, so that made filming hard, and made you question, oh my God, I just bought a hotel. Can anyone even travel anymore? I mean, there were some moments there, but for the most part, it was all right. I had a vision and I just stayed with it. I grew up working on a farm. I'm a hard worker. There's not much you can throw at me that I can't get to the other side of. And I think I just always saw the other side. And I'm almost there. I'm still not fully on the other side. It's a lot of work here to be done still. It's a 4-acre property. It is overwhelming at times. But it still does give me a heart attack sometimes, the amount of things that have to be done. But there's still a lot of romance in it.
All of the things you've done, all the improvements are so beautiful, and the log wall. I mean, that's kind of your signature thing.
Yeah, I would say that's my shiplap for sure. I love a log
It's
wall.
beautiful.
Thank you. I've now made a bunch of them, and out of different varieties. Actually, I made a cedar log wall, which I
Smells
stripped the
good.
bark. Yeah, it smells good, and we stripped the bark ourselves, and just the different colors depending on how deep you go. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, so folks come to Big Bear, stay there at the Oak Knoll Lodge. What is there to do? Now you say there's mountains and hiking, I'm sure.
Yeah, they are so much to do. So, Big Bear gets a lot of snow in the winter, so you can definitely ski, snowboard. We have two major ski resorts in like a 5-mile radius, which is crazy. There's a really nice downtown that has great shops and good restaurants. In the summer, we have a lake, so you can rent a boat and do lake activities. There's lots of hiking. There's lots of mountain bike riding. It is just such a special, cool place. And the Springs Motel in New Ashford, very similar. It's also a mountain town, so it has a lot of the same things. It has a lot of lakes, it has a lot of ski resorts, and then it has a lot of art museums. Actually, the Berkshires are known for just eclectic art museums and outdoor concert venues, and it's just really a beautiful place.
Well, I do want to delve now more, and let's go to the other coast and to Massachusetts, where you grew up. And season 2 that folks will be able to see, or you can go on the Magnolia app through Discovery Plus and watch all the seasons, which is what I did. But there in Massachusetts, it was going home for you to take this beautiful Springs. In fact, it was a place that you'd gone to when you were a kid, right? The restaurant
Yes,
there.
yes. Yes. So the Springs Motel, I knew about it as a kid. I drove by it a bunch of times, but it actually had a restaurant that was called the Springs Restaurant. And it was very fancy. It was like the fanciest place, 40 miles in each direction. I remember they served like sorbet in silver cups, like in
Mm.
between your meal. And I didn't come from a wealthy background. So I went there one time, I think for my 12th or 13th birthday. I remember it. I remember getting our to-goes in a tinfoil swan, which was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It was very fancy. So yeah, I remember what that restaurant looked like, and just the way it felt, and the boulders and the rocks, and just it was a cool place. So the restaurant, actually, it was a separate property that someone bought and turned into a house, which bums me out because they're my neighbors.
Mm.
Uh, and it's a house now. But I bought the motel across the street, which actually had a lot of the signage and paraphernalia from the restaurant, and it is just amazing. It's such a cool place. and the motel just spoke the same volume. It was designed very similar.
And this was a big project too.
Lots of room.
This is a way bigger.
Yeah.
Way bigger. It
Right.
was
You've
3
got all
times the
these-
size.
Mattresses to uncrate. Just so many things that you did.
mattresses.
But you made fun. You had fun when you did it. That's what was makes the television show so much fun.
Yes, we definitely did. I mean, one thing when you get me and my brothers and sister together, we are always scheming, for a way. They're always scheming for a way to get out of work. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. And I'm always scheming out a way to get the work done faster. So, it didn't always work, but yeah, we got some rollerblades, we got some bicycles, we have some fun stuff happen in season 2 for sure.
Well, in such variety of what you have to deal with. You got a swimming pool to have to remodel. The exterior, make it neat, make it something that folks are going to want to come stay at. I mean, it's just a kind of a whole different dynamic than a typical rehab flipper show.
Yeah, it is. And I will say it's a lot of pressure that you have to think about because a lot of these shows you watch, you don't actually get to go and interact with the spaces after.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of pressure because people show up after, and they're like, hey, this is on TV. And I was like, yeah, I know. And it's mostly all right. But even now, we're in between seasons. When you're in between seasons, it's ugly. I'm sorry. The snow's melting. There's paint. It's ugly. It's the end of a season. And some guests like to point that out to me.
Of course, your high season.
It doesn't look like it did on TV. And it's like, well, it snowed 4 feet. The snow just melted. Give me a minute.
Oh yeah. But in the fall, that's when you make your money, huh?
That's true. Yes. I'm still learning the new place. Big Bear is very, very busy in the winter and the summer is moderate. I haven't started doing events yet in Big Bear. Once I start doing events, I'm sure the summers will just be just as busy. We'll do weddings. The Springs Motel, I got to figure out. I do think we're going to have a very busy summer. Summer is actually booking more there. I'm booking out for weddings already at the Springs Motel because New England's more of a summer place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning it. January was dead at the Springs Motel. It's a little scary, if I'm being honest. It's my first, I think I just opened in December and I did not have many bookings in January. And I was like, did I do this right? But what I forgot, I've been gone from New England for 14 years. It's freezing in December and January, like -20. So it did pick up a lot in February and March. So I'm learning that market. I just think January might be a little slow because it's very, very cold.
Well, it's a beautiful part of the country. Folks are getting out. They're kind of coming out of their cocoon from the couple of years that we've, experienced, and maybe thinking about staying someplace that's not just the typical. The typical. I mean, that it's a historic place, and I think that's what attracted you to these properties is the history, and you love that, want to pay tribute to, particularly to mid-century kind of sensibilities.
Yeah, I really dive into retro and rustic. It's something that I just find very enticing on both ends. I like to take old things and make them new, and I like to mix and match. It's kind of a fun process for me. With both places, the design for the Oakna Lodge was definitely more rustic, and the design for the Springs Motel is definitely more retro, because the bones kind of provided for it. I actually let a place tell me what it's supposed to be. I didn't do much drawing or envisioning of either place until I got there. You show up and you see it, and then it kind of tells you, has been my experience.
Well, I love the little touches, though, like in the chalet you found Kevin. Tell everybody about.
Which one?
Well, the stuffed rabbit.
Oh,
Was
yes.
that his
Okay,
name?
yeah, the winter chalet. Yes. So that was really fun. I actually made this cute little nook as a second story loft, which was sentimental to me because as a kid, we lived in a tiny house and my parents kept having kids in a small house. And my dad decided to start building up. So he built us a loft. And so I had my first bedroom as a kid with my sister. I shared a lofted bedroom that my dad built. So on my season 2 of In the Works at the Springs, I had my dad come help me make a staircase to this loft that I had just made in the winter chalet, my first cabin reno, episode 1 actually of season 2.
Well, and your mom, came to see it, and you say Is it Houston, I think?
No,
In Texas.
we named, I think the bunny we called Kevin.
Right. No. Your mom, you say she's in Texas.
Oh yeah, my mom, she lives in San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio. Yeah. Just seeing her, I thought she and I could be best friends. And of course, she tried to teach you how to sew. And I could tell that's one that you were not really into the sewing. You were more like, what else could I do besides this?
Hey guys, sorry.
I feel like,
real quick.
yeah,
we
sometimes I
do-
feel like
hey,
I'm like the female Tim Taylor, like
Yeah.
if it's not a big tool, and I like big scope stuff. So sitting on doing the detail work isn't my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, In the Works is something you're going to want to watch on Magnolia Network. I know we've blown our time out. I could talk to you all day. Lindsey, you're just delightful, and I'm so happy to get to make this connection. All the best to you in what comes up, and we'll be watching.
Thank you so much. We love Waco. Happy to talk to you.
Well, thanks for joining us for this very special chat I had with Lindsey Kurowski of In the Works. Again, you can watch In the Works as it is on the Magnolia Network every Monday night, or it can be streamed on Discovery Plus or your Magnolia app. We hope you'll join us again next time. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.